Good afternoon, John here with another micro lesson. Today we have a really exciting lesson about bank storage. Some of you might know what bank storage is and be very familiar with it. Others may have it and you may not necessarily know exactly how to utilize it, why it's there, its function, and the benefit of it. It's about maybe a 10 or 12 minute long video today where I'm working on the Lowry Journey. The Lowry Journey has internal storage, which is where the word bank comes from, whereas it's not reliant on a thumb drive or the old floppy disks. Everything's internal, but it's almost like an internal thumb drive, the way that it's set up. So we're going to go take a look at it, and I'm going to be using the Journey this week. The question regarding the bank storage came from one of our students, and I'm hoping that this helps not only her, but any of you that might have an instrument that also has that capability. Let's go take a look and learn something. This week's lesson, again, covers a question that came up from one of our own students recently, asking us to review something called bank storage. Now, they are playing on a Lowry Fanfare. I'm here on the Journey, which is the second iteration here of that sized instrument, the most recent one, and they do bank the same. So I figured I could use the Journey here to show you how to do some banking on the Fanfare. But basically, what it is, the way that I have the lights set up here, you probably can't see right above this word storage. It says bank above it, and that's what we're going to be referencing this week. Now, basically what the bank storage is, I often equate it to like an internal thumb drive, an internal USB. Some instruments have external ways of saving sounds and features, and some have internal. Now, what made both the Fanfare and the Journey a little bit distinct was how much internal memory that they had. Prior to this, there was internal memory, but it was very limited. And both the Journey and the Fanfare really increased that amount of memory tremendously. Now, try to make this as simple as possible. Forgive me if you've heard me say this before, particularly my students that come here for the weekly lessons, but the bank storage is basically like your refrigerator or your pantry. That is where you put your music, sounds, tones, food, in the case of a refrigerator or pantry, that you are going to use later. Okay, may not be using it immediately, but you want to save it for days from now, weeks from now, on the instrument, maybe years from now. Not that you do that with food, but with the instrument, with tones, it's limited. You can save them for virtually however you'd like. So the first thing you need to do is you need to create an arrangement that you'd like to save. Now I'm going to make this very simple. I'm going to go into a song setup here, and I'm going to find an arrangement. Let's go with something fun here. Oh gosh, Bali High. Okay, so I'm going to hit select here. It's going to give me an arrangement for Bali High, and let's say, just for the sake of time here, that Bali High was not in there. Let's assume that I did all of this setup, the buttons that you just saw come on when I hit song setup. Let's pretend that Bali High was not in my instrument and I did all of that work. And I said to myself, well, I want to save all of these sounds. So, well, what do we do when we want to save? We memorize. So I'm going to go ahead and memorize. Now, I have done a feature on this before, so I won't spend a lot of time talking about how to memorize the buttons, but if you watch what I do here, it should make some sense. So we hit memorize. The screen here is asking me, what do you want to memorize these settings to? And the answer is, well, I need to memorize it to one of these numbers, 1 through 8. But I need to hit this A button first because I'm saving it to A1 or A2 or A3. However many numbers there are, that's how many times over that I can save in one fell swoop. So I'm going to hit A and I'm going to hit 1. Okay. It's asking me in the screen, I believe I have spoken about this at length before, about it's asking me if I want to remain, to remember rather, the style that I chose. And the answer is yes, I do. Do I want it to remember a key change? Now, there wasn't a key change. You can see here that neither one of these buttons are on, but had there been, it's likely that I'd want to memorize that as well. And on these instruments, there are a couple different ways where you can change this so that it doesn't say no. Now, top left-hand side in the screen, there's an arrow that points down. That's saying that the style right now is not going to be saved, but the important thing is the arrow, okay? That arrow can equate to this arrow. This arrow, or these two arrows rather, equate to this one. So if I hit this one, see how it changed it to width? Okay, now these arrows, what do you think that these equate to? Well, these equate to this one. Okay, these arrows, that arrow. Okay, now I could have hit a white key and a black key. If you watch, I'm going to hit a white key, or a black key rather, and then a white key. Okay, so we can do it this way. Okay, or, again, I could use these here. I could also hit my foot pedals. You'll probably hear them, you're not going to see them. Gotta be a little bit careful, sometimes you'll double hit them. But again, 3 ways, hoping you remember one of them. You can use the lower keyboard as well. I'm not going to do that because the beat might start. Okay, so we've saved it, all right? Or we're setting to save it. Last thing I do when I'm memorizing is I turn the memorize off. You'll notice the screen will go from memorizing to memorized. That means past tense. That means I did it. I saved it to A1, okay? And I can fill up all of these. If I have a song that has multiple settings, maybe I save 4 buttons. Well, then I have a remaining 4 here that I can save other things to. Now, that was where the story used to end. You know, if I was playing on an Odyssey or I was playing on a Fanfare, Lowry style anyhow, I would have just finished all of the memory space, or filled up rather all of the memory space that I had. That is no longer the case because I have this bank. So let's just say for the sake of time here that we saved all 8 of these buttons with different sounds. They could be 8 sounds for one song. They could be 8 songs with 1 sound apiece. Whatever the case may be, you filled up all 8 and you want to put something new onto these numbers. Now, prior to this point, if I wanted to put something new on these numbers, guess what I lost? What was on these numbers. But now I have this bank. So if I hit bank here, it's asking me a question essentially. I almost wish that they put question marks after these because these are essentially questions. They're asking me, do you want to load something to the setups from the bank? And the answer right now is no. I want to save something to the bank from the setup. So I want to do just the opposite. So I don't want to load from the bank to these numbers. I want to take the sounds that I have on these numbers and put them into the bank. So I scroll until I see save. And I hit select. Now it's asking me, where do you want to save this file? Now you can see I have Autumn Leaves saved in here already. I have the Can. And then I get to one called blank. Blank is not the name of a song. Blank is a blank spot. And I have a great number of blank spots that I can save sounds to. Let me go back to number 3 here. And each one of those spots, I can save 8 buttons that give me a sound on the top keyboard as well as the bottom. Okay, I can also save to setup 0. Not going to get into that right now, but if I would have just gone memorize A with no number, that would be setup 0. So technically, 8 plus 1, 0 would be 9, top and bottom. And all of those different banks, I can save those sounds to. Now in my third bank, okay, and I want to name it. So let's say I want to name this Bali High. Well, I would use the lower keyboard in order to do this. I would need to know what key equated to what letter, okay? But now that I know this, I can kind of hit my letters here. I'm going to hit enter first, or select first, and now I can save it with a name. I don't have to save it with a name. I can just save it to set up group 3, but I am one that is more likely to save it to a name so that I can remember what the number is. I'm not likely to remember what setup group 3 is. I am likely to remember what Bali High is. So I need to know the letters. As you can see, I'm changing my letters here, and you can kind of feel them around is what I do until I get to the one I want. So there's my I, skip over. Now we're going to find a capital H, which is there. And let's find another I. There we go. Okay, and we're just going to erase the rest of these. Now, it's likely that I maybe one day can do another video about how to name, but this isn't the owner's manual. It does happen on this instrument on the lower keyboard. So when I'm done here, I'm going to hit select or enter, and it's saving. Okay, now I have the opportunity to put new things on these buttons, okay? So basically what I've done is I've taken my arrangement for Bali High and I've put it into the fridge. I've put it into the pantry. It's there, it's available for me to use at any point in the future. So I can put brand new stuff on these numbers by doing all button pushing, memorizing, all of that fun stuff, okay? And let's say there's brand new things, different rhythms, tempos, instruments, what have you, and you say, 6 months from now, gosh, I really want to play Bali High. Well, you turn your instrument on after having been off for however long, or maybe you just played it, but you just haven't played Bali High. So, you know what, I want to play that song. Well, you go into the bank. This time, guess what we want to do? We want to load. We want to load from the bank to the buttons. Right now, Bali High is not here, and I want it here, okay? So I'm not saving, I'm loading from the bank to the buttons. I hit select. I don't want to load Autumn Leaves. I don't want to load the Can-Can. I want to load Bali High. I hit select, and it's as simple as that. It's loaded. Okay, I go to A number 1, and here's my arrangement for Bali High. With my rendition of Bali High here. I think I've used this recently in another video. Now, here's the great thing. I went by 2 other songs. I went by the Can-Can, I went by Autumn Leaves. If I want to pull one of those up, it's as easy as going back to the bank, hitting load, Autumn Leaves, done. Okay, turn off button number 1, go right back to it, and here's my arrangement for Autumn Leaves. Let's say I want to go to Can-Can. Again, same thing. Load in Can-Can. Number 1. Now, one thing that's interesting about the Can-Can that I did is I increased my tempo by 10 with each one of these button pushes. Now, I saved that months ago, but they're right there at my fingertips. If I want to pull Bali High back again, it's as easy as that. Bali High's back. Okay. I hope that helps. Obviously, saving to a thumb drive is a little bit different, but their question was in specifics about the bank storage. I hope you enjoyed the video this week. Being able to store things indefinitely is such a benefit if you ever want to go back and replay something that you've done days, weeks, months, sometimes even years later. And the more storage you have available to you, the more likely it is that you're able to just pull those things right out from the past and play them again the same exact way that you did when you first played. Okay? If you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out to us in a multitude of ways. First and foremost, you can call our studio directly, speak to me in person. My phone number here is 401-277-9800. You can come visit our storefront, which is 1665 Hartford Avenue. We're located in Johnston, Rhode Island. You can reach out to us on our YouTube channel, where you're probably watching this video right now, by leaving a message underneath the video with any questions, concerns you have. I want to thank Mike from England, who always gives us a nice hi and thanks us for our videos, and we really appreciate him watching them. And I appreciate all of you watching them as well. If you feel like leaving us some love, feel free to do so. You can also visit our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is, if you look in the search bar, Keys to Fun Music and Lesson Center, and you'll see updates from the store, pictures, some videos that we do from time to time. Finally, you can go to our website. Our website is keystofunmusic.com. There you can subscribe so you can get these videos sent directly to your inbox. You can ask us questions. There's a little chat box there as well that if you type into the chat box, you actually have a chance to chat directly with me. It comes up on my cell phone as a text message, and sometimes we can chat virtually live with any questions that you have. Okay. Thank you so much for, again, joining us. I know your time's valuable, and I appreciate you wanting to spend a little bit with us. Don't forget to go back. We have a ton of videos at this point, probably about 30 or so, of videos that we've been doing the last few months. We try to do about one a week, and on a different topic, each week that covers something about music, about instruments, or both. Okay. Keys to Fun is an authorized Lowry as well as Yamaha Clavinova dealer, and we are there authorized to answer any questions that you have. Thank you so much. We'll see you again soon.